let's be real. Surviving ancient Egypt wouldn't be easy. So let's see if you got what it takes. First, let's get one thing straight. Which ancient Egypt are we talking about? The civilization lasted thousands of years and went through many periods. We'll go with the New Kingdom, Egypt's golden age, full of power and well documented for us to explore. Lucky you. You won't remember much about your childhood since you probably were unborn yet, when you fell down that strange witch's wormhole. But if you were, you wouldn't remember much. Life as a kid back then wasn't all fun and games. Without modern medicine, almost half of babies didn't make it to the age of 5. And even if you did, you'd still have to deal with hunger, disease, and a world that had little regard for tiny humans. As a kid, you wouldn't get to play around much. Your job would be to help your family, which meant watching your siblings, working the land, or learning your father's trade. Food would be whatever your parents could scrape together, so expect lots of bread, milk, fruits, and veggies. Maybe your dad would be lucky enough to fish and bring home some catfish for a protein boost, and now you're on your own.
Oh.
Since your parents disappeared due to the space-time mess you caused, you're all grown up, and in ancient Egypt you don't have much going for you. The only thing you might have going for you is your looks, which might land you a gig as a servant or a soldier. Egyptian society was strict, and the rules were rigid. At the top was the Pharaoh, the divine king. Below him were priests, officials, and nobles. Then came skilled workers and scribes. At the bottom, laborers, servants, and slaves, often prisoners of war. As a stranger sticking out in the crowd, you'd probably be captured and enslaved pretty quickly. But let's say you managed to convince them that you're harmless. You still need a job. Most people were farmers, working the land and relying on the Nile River to keep their crops alive. Getting hired was easy. All you had to do was move a rock from one spot to another, and you're in. With calluses on your hands and dirt under your nails, you'd work for bread and beer, sleep on the ground and dodge snakes. Oh, and don't forget the occasional lost limb while harvesting. When the Nile floods, off to the pyramid construction site you go. As a modern human, none of this is really that hard, right? It's just hard to imagine that you wouldn't drop dead from any number of diseases. Smallpox, malaria, tuberculosis, these are all common illnesses that could take you out. Even if you tried to stay clean by bathing in the Nile, you'd be sharing water with laundry, runoff, and waste. And that's a great way to get schistosomiasis. Fever and diarrhea, anyone? But let's say you survived that. Maybe Pharaoh notices your strength and determination and promotes you to soldier. Now you get to fight for a land you ended up in by accident. The enemy, the mysterious sea peoples, raiders that no one really understands. War is brutal and survival is never certain. But hey, you've made it this far.